Pennsylvania is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the time and for your leadership in committee and today on this important bipartisan piece of legislation. I also would like to thank my colleague, Congressman Pierluisi, for his stalwart support and work on this bipartisan bill. The chairman of the Judiciary Committee is correct in recognizing that federal law often fails to keep up with the lawbreakers. As a former U.S. attorney, I am acutely aware of the ways criminal organizations adapt their practices to skirt federal law and harm American citizens. This bill directly responds to one scenario that has played out time and again in our federal courts. I would like to start by making a key point about the purpose of this bill and the type of organizations it targets. Our focus through this bill is the leadership of sophisticated, often multinational drug trafficking organizations with expansive networks of distribution internationally. This includes source nation manufacturers, primarily in South and Central America. They are a significant source, if not the largest source, of deadly drugs on the streets and in homes across America. It also includes the leaders of large middleman, wholesale trafficking and distribution organizations. I want to stress that the bill does not target petty dealers or low-level smugglers in the final chain to the narcotics' final destination. Instead, the focus is on higher levels of the drug trafficking chain beyond our borders. These are the decision makers who have twisted our law for their own profit. Federal law requires prosecutors to prove that defendant manufacturers and traffickers knew the narcotics were destined for the U.S. Under this direction, drugs manufactured and packaged for illegal wholesale distribution in the countries outside of the U.S. In many instances, the final destination is the United States. Individuals can hide their knowledge or insert additional middlemen to potentially evade prosecution. One recent case in the D.C. Federal District Court perfectly depicts this problem. On trial were two Guatemalan nationals, leaders of an organization that received tons of cocaine over 13 years from manufacturers in Colombia and Venezuela. They built runways and warehouses to store and receive such massive quantities of narcotics. Then they distributed the drugs to additional middlemen in Mexico. It was known that these drugs reached the U.S., but the defendants claimed that once they passed them on to, they had no knowledge of its ultimate destination. At trial, this was their only defense. Currently, law allows them to claim ignorance and simply put the blame on those who do their bidding. My district and many other colleagues' districts face a growing heroin epidemic. Our efforts this week to counter this crisis are crucial to stopping it. My final point, this bill is about dismantling international drug trafficking organizations. It is about bringing to justice the source nation, manufacturers and middlemen, wholesalers behind the flow of deadly narcotics across our borders. Nothing else. I urge my colleagues to support the bill so we can make that happen today, and I yield back my time.